Good morning, boys and girls. What's up on this Wednesday? Thursday, right? Big night today. South Beach Food and Wine Festival. We're taking over a great restaurant. So, today, we're going to talk about listening, right? I don't know how many of you have heard this, but listening is probably the most difficult thing you'll ever learn to do in your life. But the power of listening, and I mean real listening, right, will change your life. It will allow others to trust you. It will save your relationships. It will allow you to reflect and hear your mistakes. It's really the source of almost everything, honestly. If you can truly listen to anything, your life will change. Now, what's the problem with us? We're addicted, just like I am, right, to not listening. And by the way, at the end of this video, I'm going to give you one trick. Watch it to the end, and I'm going to tell you a trick that if you follow this trick and you do it every single day, right, or try it one day, and if you screw it up the next day, it's okay. I'm going to give you a trick that's going to allow you to start to listen. And once you start to listen, your life will change. Your relationships will change. Everything will change. But the problem is this. We're addicted to talking, to speaking, right? Let's say you're a student and you get an A on your test. What's the first thing you want to say? I got an A on my test. I got an A on my test. It's not listening. We're addicted to talking. And by the way, when you do things like that, what happens in the room? You usually, piss people off, right? Or, hey, I won the raffle. Hey, I just won this game. What's the normal reaction you get from people when we talk, when we speak, right? They normally don't like it. It normally gets someone angry. Picture yourself in a situation with your intimate relationship, your girlfriend or your spouse, right? They love to talk, as we all say, and the men can't stand listening. So the point is, what are we trying to do all the time? What is the point of all of us talking, and refusing to listen 99% of the time, including to ourselves? What it's all about, and why people keep telling and saying and talking, is people want to be heard. They want to be heard. They want you to know about them. They want you to know what they're feeling. Angry, sad, scared, happy, excited. We are addicted to letting others know how we feel about a certain event, a certain thing, all of that. So we're hooked on it because we want to be heard. So here's the thing. The quickest way to change in any situation when you're on the receiving end, right, is to allow that person to be heard. When you listen, and that means keeping your mouth shut, and that means listening to what do they have. By the way, what's the biggest distraction to listening to what other people have to say? The biggest. Your own thoughts. Because you're truly not even listening 99% of the time. And you may have your mouth shut, right? But you're listening to, I think they're going to say this. I know how they feel. I've heard this before. Here we go again. So don't do that either. That's called pseudo-listening, or listening to respond. Chances are, 99% of the time, you're never actually going to allow that person to feel hurt. You'll never actually understand what they're saying to you, period, end of story, because you're only listening to yourself. And when you listen to yourself, you're listening from your past and your experiences and not what's going on in the present moment right in front of you. So remember, the biggest distraction you have to listening is your own thoughts. So shut those thoughts up, open up your ears, And what'll happen is you'll start to hear things that you've never heard before in that conversation. What's really going on? What's deep behind the emotion that they're feeling? Why are they sad? Why are they scared? Why are they excited? Why do they feel, incomplete or not good enough? Start to listen why the emotions are coming from that person. Let them feel heard. There's also another saying. Do you know what the definition of war is? War, or fighting, is the action of the unheard. So when people, including yourself, including myself, feel unheard, react, war, yelling, screaming, fights break out in your house. Look at your children when they speak to you and you just, they want to tell you about this and this and this. You're like, yeah, I heard it before. I don't want to hear about it, right? Just do this, do that, do this. Let me ask you something. Does that work with the kids? When you tell them, whatever they're saying doesn't matter. Alex and Max are my kids. Alex just called me a name. He came into my room, put the pillow and shoved it into my head. I used to say, Max, I've heard this before. I don't want to hear about it. You and your brother figure it out. Immediately, that sends him into what we call the limbic state of his brain. He reacts. He gets pissed. He gets angry. What's typically going to happen now when I didn't listen and said that to him? He goes and fights with his brother. Boom, 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 boom. Now, if I shift that situation and I say, okay, what happened? Brother came to the room, put a pillow on my head, started doing all this kind of stuff. All right, Max, I get it. How do you feel about that? I'm frustrated. I want to kill Alex. So the point is, if I allow him to be heard in that moment and then repeat back how he's feeling, his emotions, tell him I understand his frustration and tell him I understand I would be pissed too, and things of that nature, he calms down. He feels heard. Another example, right? War. The definition is action of the unheard. Think about any war in this country, right? What about the women's rights movement? Women felt unheard for how many years? Centuries. They couldn't vote. They had no rights. Guess what? They took to the streets to be heard. The women's movement. Every movement is people gathering together who feel unheard to overcome. They fight, they march, they want to overcome. We can go over and over and over. The civil rights movements, women's lib, major wars, right? Around the world is even our fight, against terrorism and all that kind of thing. They're on a mission to be heard about their belief systems and things like that. And they're going to go to war if they feel unheard and can't have their way. So I can give you example after example about that. So listening, it's the key. It's truly the key to allowing others to feel heard. All right, so about, 3 months ago, I went to a speaking event, and it was a Army or Marine interrogator. He's actually the guy who found Saddam Hussein, right? It took him 6 months, and he was the interrogator. And I went to this event, and I was, prepared, again, not understanding, to say, oh my God, this guy must have tortured people. They must have taken him to Guantanamo Bay. They, waterboards, the fingernails, everything. And he told me about the story where he flew in and flew into Afghanistan and flew into Iraq and all that. And he started to talk to people. His interrogation techniques, he never touched anyone. Never. All he did was listen to people. He would ask certain questions, and he would listen and listen and listen. And then he would repeat back how they felt. He would give them empathy, understanding. When you're truly listening, you'll be able to hear the emotion of how the others are feeling. Remember, don't listen to what you think they're feeling or how you responded in a situation. Listen to how they're really feeling. And when he did that over and over and over again, I think he interrogated over 2,000 people before they found Saddam Hussein. All right? And the more you listen, the more you felt the other person's emotions, the more you repeated back to them how they felt, they opened up. They opened up, and it built what? A secret word: trust. They trusted their interrogator because they felt heard. They knew he was listening. He would repeat back their emotions and say, this is how you felt. I can understand the frustration. I understand. So this group with Saddam Hussein, they would come into your home and your children. They would ask you to do things, okay, that you weren't even comfortable with. How did that make you feel? How did your children feel when the army would storm in and they would use your house for a safe house holding up terrorists? Were your children scared? Yes, and he would go on and go on and on and go on. And he would empathize and listen to their emotions and repeat back. Practice that. The next time you get in an argument with somebody, whether it's a coworker, whether it's someone on your team, shut up and listen. Listen to what they have to say. Do not listen to respond. Do not listen to become defensive. That will get you nowhere. Truly listen to them. Then repeat back what they're saying to you. And they will know you're listening. That's how it works. Honey, I can't take it. Every single day, you tell me you're going to be home around 6 and you're stuck at the office till 7 o'clock. Listen, babe, I got to work. I got to make money. I got to feed the kids. Yada, 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 yada. That's going to lead to an unheard spouse that eventually will lead to a fight, daily fight that will compound, who knows how bad, to a divorce. What if you said, okay, honey, so you're sick and tired of me saying I'm going to be home at 6 and I show up at 7, okay? And that frustrates you, right? Why do you need me home by 6? Well, because that's when the kids come home after school. I'm cooking, they're running around, and I can't even manage the household by myself, okay? So you can't manage the household. The kids come home at 6. You're cooking and all that. How does that make you feel? Frustrated. I feel like I'm here alone by myself and no one's here to help me. I can understand when the kids are running around and you feel frustrated and alone and helpless, right? Yes, that's exactly how I feel. And then you tell me you're going to be home at 6 and you show up at 7. I understand you're working. I understand you're putting money on the table, but I need help here. I feel helpless when the kids are here. I'm trying to cook dinner. I can't do it. I understand. Honey, I get that way too at the office. I feel helpless when I have to do 5 tasks and there's never enough time in the day. So I feel like I can't get it done. I understand. So the point is now you start to listen to each other and you repeat back how you feel. And then she starts to listen when she feels heard. And then it shifts back and forth. The key in those conversations is you and how do you feel? I understand. Use words of empathy in the conversation. I get that. I have a similar situation. I feel like that too, honey. I know how you feel. See, even me, I couldn't stop using the word I. Shift to the word you. How did that make you feel? I understand how you feel. I understand this situation, and go into the details of how they feel and everything. Okay, so we know now listening. Listening will change your life. It builds trust. Leaders follow people who listen. Listen to yourself. You know the big distractions. Here's the trick I talked about. Over the next weeks, days, anything. If you mess it up, it's okay. I want you to do one thing. Speak last. Just if you're in a meeting, listen. Listen for 20 minutes, speak last. If you're talking to your spouse, speak last. If you're speaking with your children, speak last. Your teams, your friends, listen. Take it all in and be the last one to speak. And practice listening. All you got to do, even if somebody comes at you hard, listen. If somebody's pissed off at you, listen, be the last one to speak, and then lead with empathy. I understand how you feel. You sound frustrated. Will you tell me how this is making you feel? Speak last, lead with empathy. Speak last, lead with empathy. Learn to listen, make sure you're not listening to yourself. I love you. I'm here to serve others who serve others and live a life of fulfillment. And so are you. I love you. Leave comments. You know, tell me what I'm doing good. Tell me what I'm doing bad. What's working, what's not. Rate the video. Share the video. Follow. Because that's what I'm doing this for. I'm trying to help other people change their lives, right? Live with purpose. Live with fulfillment. Do it. I love you. Breaking Cats. Chilling out. Signing out. Live life.